on, but are we recording or is it working again? Or okay.
I can make sure we do. I can manually turn it on.
Oh. I don't know how to do it. Yeah,
I don't know either. All right. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. It's 5:33. We'll call our regular meeting to order here. First off, we have director comments. Susan? Good. John? Good. Mike?
I just want to say I stopped by Chicken and Pickle today, because I happened to be going by the Grand Opening tonight. It was quite a place. It's really huge, and I'm very impressed. It's pretty cheap, too. So.
Thomas?
Yeah, I'll say thanks to the City Civic Club for the gumbo cook-off. That was great. Really well attended.
Art?
Happy New Year, you guys.
Oh,
Seen y'all since last year.
that's true. Happy New Year. I wanted to echo the same comments of the Civic Club. That was a very, very fun event at Okies for the gumbo cook-off. And I also wanted to say that I met with the Texas Music Office. Now broke the state of Texas up into regional areas. So we're in the, I might have mentioned it before, we're in the Southeastern Division for the state, and we're going to start having monthly conference calls. So we had a conference call a couple of weeks ago, just kind of going over potential options for music-related city involvement in the southeastern area. And I saw that Galveston, I think, has their certification Monday at the Opera House, which is pretty cool. I think they're going to have a musician. Okay, next we'll do city update. Mayor, did you want to give the update, or did you have anything to update? This is just kind of a standing item, so I left it on. Yeah, he messaged me. We may bump the first item.
Well, so Scott Finley's still working on those revisions. Alex has been in contact with them. They're still working on them. We haven't gotten back yet.
Sure. Any other city related other than the agenda items? I think you gave an update on the shell bottom at the council meeting, right?
At the last meeting, we're going to do a sea turtle study now after we did the manatee study.
So there's no real timeline, any?
She said 6 to 9 months for that to be completed.
Wow, okay.
And then so once that gets completed, I don't want to speak and jinx us. Knock on wood. She said that will be the last thing.
The last animal?
Unless they come up with another animal. Unless they drop by and see that.
You have a lot of nutrients.
They see the dolphins out there, they'll want
No,
dolphins.
so we're supposed to be able to go into the bid phase. All the drawings are done. That's all complete.
Yeah.
We were about to go to the bid phase until that. So after that, we'll go get bids. I don't know how long that will take us. I'm sure I'll be working some with Scott on that too. Another inspection. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, just a reminder, I think we were estimating that we may be on the hook for about 200 to 250,000, but that could have greatly changed by now. So it's, yeah. So yeah, we're on the hook for, probably $1 million project, just as a very round number, and we're on the hook for 25%. So I noticed on the check registry, we had some environmental study and stuff on there. All right, not to get off topic. I'm kind of delaying a little bit until Councilman Scanlon's here. All right, next, do we have any unscheduled visitors that would like to speak?
Okay, I'm going to speak in two capacities, as a resident of 133 East Shore Drive and also as the president of the Civic Club. I do want to thank the EDC for their sponsorship of the event that we just had this past weekend. But one thing I do want to talk about, which I know this board hears a lot about, is parking. So we had an event over the weekend. I think we sold roughly 300 wristbands. So I'm estimating with the teams we probably had 400 people there. The mayor and I have discussed this at length. I just want to bring it to the attention. And I want to preface this with that there are many entities or individuals that probably could have handled the situation better, including myself on behalf of the Civic Club. I think it was about 1:30 or 2, the mayor got a text from Skipper saying that in 15 minutes he was going to start towing the vehicles from our event. To be honest, I did not even realize Skipper's was open in the afternoon on a Saturday. As far as the Civic Club and the coordinators, we should have reached out to them and made sure that it was okay for us to park there, or if there was overflow parking, if we could have paid for parking. The mayor and I discussed that I knew that it was going to cause a mass exodus from our event. The stroll had not even started. So I told the mayor right then, I said, on behalf of the Civic Club, we will give $200 for his parking, and then I think the mayor went over and had a discussion with him. As a person that devotes a lot of volunteer hours to this community because I love this community, it did not sit well with me. I know parking has been an issue. I know that there's also an ordinance that is in the works, or perhaps it's already been changed, about allowing non-resident business owners to be on the EDC. I've been on the fence about that, in my own personal opinion, more on the side of no. And I feel that if you have a non-resident business owner coming in here, I don't think that they are truly invested in what we're doing here in Clear Lake Shores. And in my opinion, this was another situation where, trust me, I'm a business owner. We're all here to make money. It was another situation where certain business owners, I feel, they are for economic development in Clear Lake Shores as long as they're benefiting. Our event was earlier this year, therefore, I guess Skipper's was open till 9 o'clock that night, was not aware. Starting on the 15th, I think they started closing at 2 o'clock. So I just wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. I know next year, after every event, I make a list of, hey, what can we do better? Where can we be better? That is definitely one thing that we are going to work on, is the parking, because it is going to be an issue. This is becoming our largest event. It was larger this year than it was last year, and I only anticipated that it's going to be growing, so we're going to have to figure out the parking issue. But for a business owner to threaten to start hauling vehicles off, I just feel it was unacceptable, and it could have been better worked with maybe compromise and consideration for the fact that this was a one-day event. And I would appreciate any input, when we come up on these events from the EDC, or a better way to handle the situation, because I know parking, you guys are trying to work on that, and we are limited. It's a huge issue for all the businesses around there, and I thank you for listening to my comments.
Thanks, Georgia. Would anyone else like to speak? All right, being none, we'll move on to item number 5, consent agenda. So included in the packet were the December and January financials, the check registries for both, and then the minutes from the December meeting. If there are no comments or discussion needed, we can move on. Okay. Moving on to item number 6, discussion and possible action involving public parking lot improvements, Johnny Bolting House. And again, thanks everybody for meeting at a non-second Tuesday, but since we tabled January, I thought it'd be a good idea to meet and just kind of refresh ourselves and get geared up here for the spring, and we've got a lot of projects up in the air. This being one of the biggest ones that we've committed to and put a lot of time into. So I just kind of had this as a standing agenda item for discussion, and there has been a little bit of updates and movement on this with Cobb Finley, and I asked Councilman Scanlon to be here, who's been really involved in the project, and he's been spending a lot of time on this, so as always, thanks to him. I didn't know if you wanted to speak, Alex, if there's anything you want to discuss. I know there was a little email back and forth today with Cobb Finley. I didn't read it yet. Okay. It was basically, just to give an update, one of the representatives there has been emailing Alex back and forth, and I've been copied in and put a little bit of input into it. One of which was some of the text dot entries and exits out of the parking lot and some of the changes that we may want to make from the original design and layout of the parking lot. The other being, of course, where the little body shop used to be. So that's been removed, and we asked them to update that section. And I think, Alex, you said there was maybe some conflicts with current ordinances with landscaping as well. Yeah, I think so, if you don't mind.
Do I need to state my name and address? Alex Scanlon, 11 Tyndall. Yeah, so the parking lot has got two ordinance conflicts, just so you know what we're trying to work through with Cobb Finley. One is there's an existing ordinance that requires a certain buffer. I think it's 15 feet back from the property line, and you have to have vegetation and trees. You can see that ordinance manifest in the west lot, how there's the palm trees and there's that apron off of Aspen and off of 2094. In the east lot, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, especially along Clear Lake Road, because there's already planters and a sidewalk and a 15-foot buffer to the road. And then on the Tex dot side, who cares? Why would we give up 15 feet times 300 feet of parking for a 15-foot buffer that's buffering essentially nothing? There's already a 10-foot sidewalk. So having them look into that, we might have to do a variance or modify the ordinances, which isn't a big deal in the ordinances, to say, hey, anything along Clear Lake Road or 2094 south of Aspen, these ordinances do not apply, or something, just to get some more spots. What was the other one? There's something else.
As the other conflict?
Yeah, the other conflict.
I don't necessarily know if it was an ordinance conflict. I think it was mainly just the entrance off of Marina Bay, because there was two of them. Now the body shop's gone. Oh
yeah, and just changing what the scope of work is for them, which is more area, and then I think they're looking at eliminating the entrance onto Clear Lake Road as well, because that's a hazard. There's been a lot of outcry against that thing. People jaywalk there, and you almost get run over all the time. So they're looking at that. Oh, the other thing that I asked them to do, this is kind of my input on it, but I think it's worthwhile, especially for the pedestrian bridge. When we do this, they're going to reevaluate the pedestrian crossings and the sidewalks at Clear Lake Road and Aspen, where the bollards are and where it extends towards up Clear Lake Road to the north. Just kind of an unfinished area that wasn't looked at very closely when the project was done originally, because that was a decade down the road. Well, here we are, and it's not done, so they're going to add those two things.
What are we doing with the amount of parking and the flow of the lot? Is that included in Cobb Finley's scope, or do we need to do that separately?
So I sent them a couple optional parking layouts that we got from Collier, who just recently did one, and asked them to add that as a line item in their proposal as well. Like, evaluate parking strategies, like in the west lot. Sorry, these lots confused. In the west lot, you noticed it was changed to angled parking. We picked up, I don't know, Randy, what did we pick up? Like 14 spots. Our ordinance also doesn't really allow for that, and it has aisle width requirements and turning radiuses and things that are relevant for a brand new Target parking lot or something that's being developed. We've got a unique situation where it's super tight. We're looking at high density parking. It's going to be difficult to drive around in there if you want to have dense parking. So they're going to look at a couple layouts as well.
So basically they're going to use, we can rest assured they're going to use common sense, and if we need to move some lighting, we just do it now before they pave it.
I don't know about common sense, but
yeah, interesting verbiage.
Yeah, so we should get their proposal back, and then you guys obviously should all review it and make sure that it captures everything you think is relevant for this project, and then they can go ahead and consult. But that's the big topic on it, is making sure they give us good advice and that they look at multiple options, because in the past, we told these engineering companies, hey, we want this, and they give us their version of whatever this is, and we kind of accept it. But
Yeah, that was my
this is
comment
our
about common
opportunity
sense.
to really like refine what we want. And
Some
say,
guidance.
hey, that's a nice thought, but can we do this? Can we do that? What are our options? And then should be ready to go.
One of the updates today was, they hope to be, like Alex said, I think it was last week, I think he sent some notes, and, they said they're gonna incorporate it and hopefully have something maybe by the end of this week or early to mid next week, which would be nice. That was the timeline that she gave today
Yeah, for a proposal.
for proposal.
Yeah, and then it'll probably be, I don't know, 6 to 12 weeks before we hear anything back after that. And just based on the last ones we've seen. But you never know. Maybe
I'm happy to stay on. I'll email them every day. It doesn't bother me any. But that's kind of an update of what's going on. And then once we get that, we can go out for bid again.
Was there anything, I know, I think you were also speaking to something similar as far as what they thought the capacity needed to be based on the business versus what capacity they think we have?
So, yeah, that's something that Alex has been working on as well that's unrelated to
at the
Copton.
risk of starting an absolute firestorm in the city, we did get the parking study back, and the cliff notes on it are, we have just enough room to have just enough parking spots to support our existing businesses, and I think we all see that every day, even on the most packed the most packed day, even on the cookout. No one was parking and having to Uber in mass, right? We have enough spots to generally get everybody in, but it's tight, so they gave us some options, and a lot of that revolves around the Skipper's parking lot. That, it's a surplus of 100 plus, but the city does have a significant number of spots to allocate in the east and west lots. So, we're not in as bad of shape as we thought, but we're not out of the woods. So, I got that report back. Y'all are welcome to see it if you want. It's just another parking study. I haven't really sat down and digested it in detail yet.
Yeah, if you don't mind, send that out. Email it to me if you don't mind, and I can send it out to everyone. Also, it's not necessarily, I guess it's related to this agenda item, but one of the things that study was, one of the purposes was to see how many spots each business needed. Is that on the report?
Yeah, and they did a good job with it. I'm actually reasonably impressed.
Do we anticipate having to change ordinances, or you haven't made that decision yet?
Without changing the ordinances and for the existing businesses, we have just enough spots. But that does, if you add some density to the east lot, and if the Skipper's lot is in play, then we can pretty much cover it just barely. If it's not in play, then we do have a deficit, but that doesn't account for timing. Like, hey, this is a bar, this is a morning breakfast place, right? They don't need parking spots at the same time, so it's not an insurmountable problem. So I think there's some solution without modifying the ordinances, because I don't have any interest in trying to modify the ordinance. Like, oh, well, you only need one spot now. That's pretty silly. It doesn't really solve the problem. That just makes it go away on paper. But yeah, I would encourage you to read the parking study, and you'll get a good idea of what we're up against. But
Definitely. Does it help to look at that in the original Walker study, because it was done with a different mindset to kind of look at the two? And
I had them specifically not account for like the Harper property and things that are pie in the sky parking. I had them account for only real parking, things that actually exist.
Or owned by the
park
city.
a car there without being trespassing on someone's property, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And it's not so bad. We'll see. Now, if another big business comes in, we're going to be in a bind, but we're not that far in the hole.
Did that include the parking for the new restaurant facility going in across from Schaefer's?
I think it was done, I'm going from memory, I believe they modeled that as Soul Freak, but restaurant, bar, coffee shop, it's all done off tabletops, so there's a 20% gray area in this no matter what, however you do it, but it's not super terrible. It's not an exact answer, but it's close.
We may keep Alex up here for the next line item, but is there any further discussion on this item? Again, it's kind of more or less a refresher and kind of an update of of the situation.
Kind of interesting that since we've put in the paved lot on the west side, I mean, it's getting extensively used
It
at
is.
all hours of the day. I mean, including in the mornings when there's only certain businesses
Right.
open.
People like to park on
People
hard
like to park
surfaces
on that
with
surface
stripes.
lot. So I think that's an important
Yeah.
discussion point with, you know, our businesses, that does offer them that, but, you know, in return, you know, there's gonna be times that it's gonna bleed over into unsurfaced lots.
But are you sure there's a deal to be done with Schaefer, with Skippers in that area, or I thought that was dead?
I have not said or suggested anything about a deal to be done,
Oh.
done with them, but
Oh.
that 77 to 100 spots out there is a key piece to solving. If you wanna say
Well, I know he
solving
wanted to
the
rent it to
problem.
us, but it was, pie in the sky price, you know.
Right, I don't know what the status of that is, but that piece being in play or not, if it's in play, basically solves, or basically it allows us to say we have enough spots to meet our current existing ordinances for our current businesses, which this is really a starting point on where we are, and then we can come
Yeah.
up with a solution for it.
Okay.
We haven't made it that far to go negotiate anything yet. We're still looking at that.
Well, we got a proposal, I don't know, a couple of years ago, something
Mhm.
like that. But it was, I don't know, what was it, 15,000 a month or something like that, and, it's like, come on.
People that were here treating him like crap.
Yep. No, but this is exactly the case, and we need to, not do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did a brief study about the land across 2094 next to Valero. That can be for sale or for rent. But then you need to have a shuttle, to get people across.
I think the next logical step is, instead of going after private parking and spending funds to have permission to use private parking, we should look at how many spots we can maximize on the city property.
Yep.
And then come
Absolutely.
up with some type of shared plan where these businesses' hours only go until this time, and we have all the businesses open at the same time right now, which can be kind of problematic, but something where you can allocate spots at certain times and come up
And
with
something formal like a parking MOU.
But you see also the Jackie's has a sign now saying $10 self-parking at Skippers.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the benchmark for the deal.
Yeah, and more than anything, I think it'll give us at least a baseline. Wherever we end up, where a new business comes in or there's potential new development or something changes, we can see how it's going to impact the current situation instead of just saying, I hope it's going to be okay, we'll let them do it. That's what we've been doing.
Right. Any other discussion? Like I said, you may want to stay up there, Alex. Item number 7, discussion and possible action related to a pedestrian bridge adjacent to Clear Lake Road. I put this on here again as one of our other main projects, just as an update, kind of reminder of what's going on and where we stand. And I think at the moment, I know roads and drainage is involved as well, but Alex, you were going to work on, I know we kind of talked about the sidewalk and walked out there one day and...
So Johnny, Randy, and Brad and I walked and mapped out where we believe this pedestrian bridge should go and which route the path should take. It's really not that complicated. It's a sidewalk that turns the corner and goes to the bridge. I have that information. I need to put it together and convey it to Collier. I spoke with him at the last meeting with Guillermo about, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to put in a pedestrian bridge with abutments and extend a sidewalk from here to here. Here's our general plan. And he acted like that would be no problem. If I can get him that information, they can get us a proposal, and then we can cut them loose on doing the engineering work for it, developing the plans. Once we have the plans, we can go to bid and proceed. It's in several budgets and split up.
Sure.
How far into the future do you believe it may be?
Well, with Brad having left, that kind of slowed everything down. Being perfectly honest, there, I just need to get it to him, and I've got a lot on my plate. So when I can get to it, or anyone else is welcome to help me, that's fine. I don't think it's a particularly long lead item to get them going. It's more of me getting my butt in gear.
Okay, so you can reasonably go in parallel with what we were doing from Birch all the way up to Forest.
Yes.
But a repaving, yeah. Okay.
You said this would be a good kind of first project for them too, or are y'all using it for something
Yeah, I
else?
mean, I think it's very simple. It's a sidewalk and 2 abutments. We're gonna have them do the concrete paving at the bridge on the south side, and then all the way up to, I think, Forest, the crossroad, down Clear Lake Road. They'll probably work those in parallel. That'll be a good test for them. They seem very reasonable. They seem like they can really deliver what we're asking for. We will see.
Something that surprised me when we did the walk was just how good the bridge actually looked from the bottom. It's the first time I actually crawled around under there, but it didn't look all that awful to me. I don't know, it just seems like we always talked about how horrible a shape it is. I know the rating, I think, gets dropped, or the load rating every year or every couple of years or something, but...
Yeah, the county derates it. That's because we're not doing any maintenance on it, so...
Oh, okay.
That's in the plans, too. If we can... We need one more body in the office. Randy's good, but we don't have a cloning machine for him yet.
Okay.
Awesome, all right, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming up here early on
Yeah.
and discussing that. Any more discussion on item number 7, the bridge? Good to move on. We are on borrowed time here. Okay, item number 8, discussion possible action to fund a larger replacement vinyl banner for Jammin' on Jarbo, Mr. Pons.
Yeah, so basically we've had this banner for about 6 years, I think. And over the years, people have made comments it really should be bigger. It's 3 feet by 8 feet right now. I think we could probably go to 4 feet by 10, make it a lot more visible. We'd have to work a little bit on how to hang it so it doesn't... Right now, I'm using bungees. You gotta get up, stand in the back of your golf cart to do it, but we could come up with some kind of cable to hook it up where, so it doesn't go down far enough where it's blocking. Basically, the drummer, when they have the concerts, they're usually sitting on a riser. And if we go too low, it'll be behind the head. So we have to figure out a way to hang it a little higher, which is not a big deal. And to get a bigger one is gonna cost somewhere south of $200. And we wanted to add some more information to it, maybe about the Texas Music Office being, certified city. Is our updated logo. The one we have is current for the EDC? Yeah. Okay, and whether the city wants to add a logo or not, we can discuss that. So that's basically what that's about. And then Johnny and I were talking a little bit. This is the 15th anniversary, 15th year of Jammin' on Jarbo, which is, a long time. So maybe we should do something to commemorate. Like, we talked about maybe doing a koozie or something like that to give away. Well, koozies are, everybody's got bags of them. They're thinking about doing something a little bit better, like perhaps something like a cup, with the logo for the Jammin' on Jarbo and the logos on it. And we could do that as a giveaway or sell them at cost, something like that. And also the possibility of doing something with the Civic Club and the margarita machine. If we wanted to break out the margarita machine, and then Civic Club, first 50 people from the Civic Club members come up, they get a free margarita and a free cup. So that's kind of the concept a little bit, and if we want to set a budget for that, I think $500 would be plenty. So that's basically it. Approve the banner and do a little promotional item.
Do we need a motion for that, or is it
Mhm.
already in the budget?
I think we need to make a motion. Want to make a motion? Bumping that up a little bit. Yeah, I would bump it up just a little bit, because I don't know what what you have, what cups or koozies or how many you're gonna make. I don't know if 500's enough.
1,000?
Yeah, or, don't just blow the money.
Yeah, but
More than enough.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't need to use it all, right? So.
Right.
But you just don't have to come back and ask for more.
Well, it just so happens that the margarita machine can make 50 margaritas. So I think we should have at least 50 cups, and then maybe some more for, you know, to give away.
If we have some left over, the Civic
Do you
Club
think-
can sell them.
When's the first concert?
April.
So you have some work to
Yeah,
do.
we just put up the schedule.
Oh, there you go.
today. There it is. Got one little typo on, it's not Friday, June 7th. Yeah, well, we just looked at it today. We'll correct that, but it is first Saturday as usual. So we could have it ready by the April 6th concert. Opening concert and singers.
So $1,000 for doing the banners and the,
Yes.
Okay. I'll make that motion to approve expenditure up to $1,000 for updated banners and the promotional items.
Sounds good, I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? I'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, passes unanimously. Thanks for doing that, Mike. Okay, item number 9, discussion on possible action to create a tree planting program with citizens.
Yeah, I finally got hold of Brian Herder, who's the one that did this in the past twice that I know of. And I've been in contact with the nurseries, but sadly I don't have pricing yet. And I've also got in touch with Cheryl because I wanted to know how much did we spend previously. And to do some, basically it's a similar thing where the EDC sponsors 50% of up to a certain amount of trees that people can plant.
Do we have any idea what that budget was? I mean,
It was, from memory, I would say 5,000, but I don't know.
all right,
They're
okay.
relatively small trees.
Yeah, it seems like it was 100 trees and,
One
I'm
time
trying
they
to
were
remember,
delivered
$50.
here, and the other time we have to go to Alvin and pick them up.
I remember when they were delivered here, yeah. Okay. So you did get a hold of Brian?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good program. I think it's something that people like to get behind, and it's a small, small expenditure. You probably didn't answer at first because it was Mardi Gras.
Oh.
He can be
Well,
hard to get a hold of for 2 or 3 weeks out of the year. Okay.
Anyway, I'll be back hopefully next meeting with all the details.
Right, yeah, I think, kind of related to that, on our next meeting, we may, kind of talk about some of those smaller projects and maybe come up with like a brainstorming session or maybe even a pig chart for stuff like that. Because again, we have our main larger projects that we're working on, and depending on when some of those things are enacted, we're going to have to watch cash flow. But for some of those smaller projects, I think it'd be good to identify some of those and just kind of knock them out.
Yep.
Okay, great. Any more discussion? All right, we'll move on to the last item, number 10, discussion on possible action involving Civic Club event sponsorships. Georgia, did you have anything you wanted to say specifically? I kind of put this on here because I know we tabled our last meeting and there was something similar on here, or was supposed to be on that.
Yeah, I want to speak to just a couple of things that are, one is a definite and one is a wish list. So the Civic Club is taking over. Historically, the city has handled Christmas decorations, the Christmas tree lighting. The Civic Club has been in charge of cookies and cocoa with Santa, hiring Santa, all of that. Well, we're going to merge that into the Civic Club for a variety of reasons. The Civic Club has always made donations. I think in the last 5 years that I've been involved with the Civic Club, don't hold me to this figure, but I think we've given around $3,000 to the city periodically, just different amounts, different years, to replenish and replace the decorations. I know the city, and Mayor, you can correct me, I think their budget's around $2,500 for all holidays. $1,300 to $1,500 of that every year is used just to rent the lift. And then the city also buys handouts for our Christmas tree lighting. So they're kind of limited. So what we wanted to do was kind of come in and use some of our funding to help with that and also try to better arrange the volunteers that are out here helping put all this the Christmas decorations up. What our plan is that the committee that we are developing, basically I'm asking them to do a desperate need list based on the condition of items. I don't know if you've ever helped put the Christmas decorations out. I mean, the garland going down the bridge is basically just like disintegrating in your hands. We need to replace this stuff with commercial grade. A lot of the stuff that we have is residential, and it just doesn't last as long. I know just the light replacement in order to get LED lights on the Christmas tree was $1,000 this year, and I know the city was able to pay for some of that. The Civic Club contributed some money. The Civic Club has allocated a $1,000 budget for just trying to replace the Christmas decorations. We wanted to request that the EDC become involved in helping sponsor these replacements. All of the businesses here in Clear Lake Shores are benefiting from these decorations coming down Clear Lake Road. People are visiting our businesses. They're coming across the bridge to take pictures of the tree. And I think it would greatly help alleviate some of the burden on the city and also help the Civic Club achieve this goal of replenishing the stuff that needs to be purchased new from a commercial grade. And also, eventually, we would like to get some things out for the medians and everything out front. What else on that? That's all for that. This item has been on my wish list since I moved into Clear Lake Shores, and definitely since I've been involved in the Civic Club, is refinishing the floors in this clubhouse. It has been on my list. The Civic Club has generated, we have raised a lot of money since I've been involved in the last 5 years, and we've donated roughly $12,000 to $14,000 in this clubhouse, the new blinds, the new chairs, the new refrigerators. And so I would like the EDC to consider sponsoring, helping us out with that. I do have a bid. I've had someone come in. Our stair banisters, some need to be replaced or repaired because they're wobbly. I mean, they're getting to a point where they're not safe. This is not something that is immediate, but it is something I would like to put on the radar. I feel like this clubhouse is used for a lot of events. I think it has the notation of being the oldest public building in Galveston County, and I feel like it would do a great service to the community, to the city who uses this building, to all of our committees who uses the building. The city rents this building out, and I think it would be a great asset to improve the floors that I honestly don't think they've been refinished since they were installed probably in 27. So that's just something I would like the EDC to consider. The Civic Club would be willing to share in that cost to the extent that we could, depending on whatever updated bid that we would receive. So those are the things that we would like to consider. I don't have a figure I'm asking for the Christmas decorations. I think it's going to fluctuate every year. I'm not sure if you want to take it on a case-by-case basis and just see what's in your budget to contribute every year. We're going to try to look early throughout the spring and maybe the summer when Christmas stuff is less expensive or maybe on sale, and we can purchase some of those things now instead of waiting till right before the event and trying to corral and find everything that we need.
Well, I would say that, I would look at this positively. The only thing we need to watch out for is, well, one thing that would be great is if there was a budget for the various things and a priority, maybe not only for 1 year, but maybe, also one that goes a little further. But then we also have to think about what the EDC can do, because we can do business development and we can do enhancement of life, but I'm not so sure if we can do maintenance.
What would this fall under, beautification? I don't know if it would be...
Possibly, but I know we can do the parking lots, but we cannot maintain them.
Right. I don't know that it would be considered maintenance. It's a...
One of the things we may talk
but
about...
anyway, that's just,
yeah.
We just need to keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, it may be something that we need to discuss with the city attorney, the gentleman over here. But, maybe one of the things we can do is sponsor... I'm just spitballing here, like the tree lighting ceremony, being a sponsor of that, for example, to a certain amount, and, rather than buying specific decorations. But again, we just have to figure out what the EDC
Yeah, I
can
think it would,
specifically fund, and figure out what that mechanism would be, or how it would,
But a wish list is always good.
yeah.
yes. I'm kind of giving them a little bit of time. They just got the tree down, so I don't want to bombard them, but they're supposed to get me a list on, like, the most degraded stuff so that we can replace that, on the front end. And I don't think it would be necessarily that the EDC is actually going out and writing checks to these businesses for
Sure.
purchases. It would more be of a sponsorship to the Civic Club for this city-held event, which, like I said, I feel like all these businesses around here benefit from that.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but that may be the proper mechanism for that. But, you know, we'll discuss it with the attorney for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, in the meantime, yeah, a budget would be great. And it may be something that we discuss during the budget workshop, which, you know, to use sometime in July or August for the end of our fiscal year.
Okay. And then I'll I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, are we already paying for the, replacement of flags, of the holiday flags that go up and down? I mean, that definitely fits in with, up front, that's a pretty obvious one. But
I think the Civic Club paid for those. I think we purchased the ones that are up now, because we took the old flags and sold them the 60th anniversary, for people to have for keepsakes. I think we may have contributed, don't hold me to that, but I'm almost positive we contributed and paid for some of the flags that are up currently.
Yeah, we did, yeah, we did,
I thought I remembered us paying
Yeah,
for some
we did some,
portion,
yeah.
Yeah.
somewhere.
but it was like a few hundred, it was a
Yeah.
couple, few hundred bucks, I think.
But I mean, that's a
Sure,
pretty
yeah, yes.
obvious one, or if we consider what type of decorations would be a little bit more toward
The front of
the
the
front.
neighborhood.
You know, the tree is wonderful, I mean, you can see it from everywhere, but, you know, it's, how do
Sure,
you,
yeah, we just have to figure out, yeah, what we can and cannot, and, you know,
once
I,
we get the parking lots all done.
yeah, yeah.
And that's been a big part of it, right? You know,
Yep.
there's a lot of projects we've talked about, but until we know where we're going.
But this is, you know, something that we can discuss maybe at the next meeting when we have, you know, our brainstorming session or, the pick chart. Figure out what are all these little small projects that we wanna do, prioritize them, so. No, that's great.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the consideration, and hopefully that, you know, we can work something out, because I know that the city's desperately, you know, we do need these things, so I appreciate
Sure.
that.
Yeah, thanks again, Georgette. Okay, I'm sure, council members would like a break before their meeting, so, we'll adjourn the meeting, 6:15.